except you will not see the game on the big monitor because I figured out there was a problem, or at least today the problem was with one of the HDMI cables. The one going to the monitor was fine, the one going to the recorder was not, so I swapped them out. Check, check, 1, 2, check, 1, 2. I always forget this song exists. Now that we have everything working properly, weather's horrible. So, got your headset right there. Oh, that's right, I was going to get that. So it's slightly better position. No, I just like keeping stuff out of the way.
girl with shorts on. How is there one? No, there's 2 girls on that team. 3 girls on that team. What is? Really? That's pretty cool. How are you feeling about where you're at now?
No, I'm not sleeping. I'm just gonna sleep.
Yeah, get some sort of nap in.
I won't sleep. No, I'm being dead serious. One, I won't be able to sleep. 2, I wouldn't trust myself to fall asleep and wake up.
Sure.
And I hate that.
What? What?
Bachelor party issues.
Ruh-roh.
No,
Those are
one of my
fun.
best friends, his brother's guilting him. It's his brother's son's first communion, and he's guilting him into being like, well, I canceled a ski trip for you once to go to your kid's something or other, and he was so ready. He's going to the Cubs. We're doing the Cubs game and everything.
Yeah.
And he called to be like, I'm sorry, man. Like I'm still 50-50 on this. He already paid for the ticket and everything. It's just like, no. And my best friend who's officiating the wedding, and she's my best groomswoman.
Yeah.
I guess that's how you say it. She just tore her ACL, so.
You were telling me
I told
that
you that. Yeah.
they want
She
the
can't
handicap
even.
accessibility.
She can't even be in a wheelchair wheeled around after.
Why?
After her surgery, because they want her to have her leg elevated,
bumping around.
no bumps, nothing. So after I already accommodated wheelchair accessible spot, and her doctor changed their mind. I was like, oh.
Never moved the surgery date. You can still walk around on a torn ACL as long as it's not.
Yeah, I mean, she just had the surgery like
She
a
already
week
had it.
ago.
Oh.
So it's kind of like, if she wants to be able to stand up and officiate the wedding with the crutch, she has to sit for 2 weeks. And, yeah.
That sucks.
Wah, wah. Anyway.
I don't understand this. How is Dubuque in the CCIW?
They're in for lacrosse. The conference is a little muddy for some of these
Thanks for helping us out.
smaller sports.
I mean, the past 2 have just
I was just like, this doesn't make any sense.
weird.
It's not.
So it's like
We had smooth sailing for so long, and then all of a sudden.
Well, my theory is
But they
Charlie
Dubuque
did
has
something, so I'm gonna blame Charlie since he's not
Oh
here.
yeah,
They're not bad.
We all agree Charlie
Well,
did.
they have a girl from World War.
Is that
This is Charlie's fault.
Oh yeah.
They have a girl from Wamanzi on their team. That would be Brienne
Jardo.
Jarda. I'm gonna go Jarda.
He did something weird with After Effects for one of his wacky stand-ups.
I'm
He
assuming
screwed
she played
everybody
for
over.
Jarda.
Is that literally what happened?
No.
I just opened up iMovie on this one, and it was something Zipzer had done. It was a women's basketball game that he called live.
Oh, wow.
Like that is he was the last one to use iMovie.
Nice.
I hate iMovie.
Oh
How often do we ever use iMovie?
We don't.
Ever. I mean, in general, like, to the public.
No man.
I don't
How you doing? Not too bad.
I remember somebody said, oh, hey, can you show me how to use iMovie? I was like, well, I've never used it, but I'll take a look at it. 10 minutes later, I'm like, no, just buy Final Cut.
Yeah.
Just buy Final Cut. Then when they came out with Final Cut 10, I'm like, it's just iMovie on steroids. Screw that. We switched over to Premiere.
I'm so happy with Premiere.
Premiere is so much better.
I love all Adobe
Oh,
products.
cut the mic.
Audition's gotten worse, but
Are you hearing from Tim? Are we getting flagged or something?
Oh, he heard all of us.
Oh.
I was talking about my bachelor party. I didn't
Well,
know
you're
this would
going
be
to a Cubs game. You weren't talking about anything else.
It wasn't bad. I didn't mention anything.
Good evening and welcome to Benedetti Worley Stadium on the campus of North Central College. Tonight's College Conference of Illinois and Wisconsin Women's Lacrosse game features the University of Dubuque Spartans and your North Central College Cardinals. Tonight is the Cardinals Faculty and Staff Appreciation Night to pay tribute to those who have impacted members of the team as teachers and mentors. Members of the North Central College Women's Lacrosse team has invited a faculty or staff member who has made a lasting impact on their life and education. We ask you to please join us in recognizing them for their hard work, time, and dedication. Faculty and staff, please step forward as your name is called. The Director of Library Services, John Small. John is also a faculty member of the Cardinals. He was invited to tonight's game by Gina Fisher. Instructor of Health and Physical Education and Clinical Education Coordinator of Athletic Training, Kendall Selsky, invited by Anisha Mattingly. The Director of Undergraduate Studies Department of Chemistry and Physics, Dr. Nancy Peterson, invited by Nikki Maris. Professor of Communication, Dr. Mara Berkland, invited by Abigail Lears. The Executive Director of Urban Education Laboratory, Dr. Jan Fitzsimmons, invited by Kaylee Robbins. Assistant Athletic Trainer and Instructor of Health and Physical Education, Taylor Arman, invited by Camille Seguizio. Head Men's Cross Country Coach and Associate Head Men's Track and Field Coach, Al Carius, invited by Emily Zadney. Assistant Professor of Health and Physical Education and Assistant Football Coach, Bill Winke, invited by Jordan McFarland. Associate Professor of Accounting, Gerald Tallman, invited by Caitlin Roybal. Assistant Professor of Sociology, Professor Shauna Rohrman, invited by Cassie Whaling. Head Athletic Trainer, Sarah Furlat-Cosby, invited by Bianca Perry and Kara Stevens. North Central College thanks all of its faculty and staff for their continued support for our Cardinal Athletics. Introducing tonight's starting lineups. First for the Spartans. Number 6, Alora Espazara. Number 7, Brianne Chajarda. Number 8, Ashlyn Padinsky. Number 9, Abby Tates. Number 11, Nicole Pacheco. Number 13, Robin Whitcomb. Number 16, Jessie Tapia. Number 17, Kelly Weatherald. Number 22, Bridget Shimmers. Number 23, Haley Schultz. Number 24, Cassandra Berger. And number 31, Kaylee Weir. Your Spartans are coached by Kendall Loggins and assisted by Sarah Decker. The manager is Ashley Gully. And now your starting lineup for North Central College Cardinals. Number 2, Nikki Maris. Number 3, Claire Norfleet. Number 4, Bianca Perry. Number 5, Rebecca James. Number 12, Cassie Whaling. Number 13, Kara Stevens. Number 14, Kaylee Robbins. Number 17, Anisha Mattingly. Number 19, Madison Moss. Number 22, Emily Zadney. Number 23, Gina Fisher. And number 25, Kat Schultz. Your Cardinals are coached by Danielle Fiala and assisted by Hannah Sopeth. this time, we please ask you to rise and face the flag at the south end of the field as we honor America in the playing of the national anthem.
Welcome into our final broadcast of the season. It's going to be the North Central Cardinals and the University of Dubuque Spartans here tonight in the regular season finale here at Benedetti Worley Stadium. Hello and welcome to this NCTV 17 production of Cardinal Lacrosse. Kevin Jackman, Joe Olmo here at the stadium tonight. It's a rainy affair. It's been raining on and off over the last hour and a half or so. But here we are, and some of the players are donning shorts in this 40-degree spring weather. It's going to be tough out there, but so it goes here in the spring, especially here in the Chicagoland area. So we're just about set to go. And, Joe, these two teams come in. They're fairly even matched record-wise, but the Cardinals, as it is noted in the program released before today, the Cardinals are tops in the nation in scoring margin. It's a little discouraging, I'm sure, for the University of Dubuque coming in here on their home turf.
Yeah, when you're also second in the nation in points per game, 20 goals per game almost. It seems like it's going to be difficult for Dubuque to get up for a game, especially in this kind of conditions.
That'll be Dubuque. That looks like they've won the opening face-off, but the Cardinals win the ground ball, and here they come. Claire Norfleet was the one for the Cardinals at midfield. And right off the bat, they're storming up, and it is a goal off the bat. Cassie Whaling, the first goal scorer for the Cardinals, and it is, 18 seconds into the contest.
Just like that, Casey Whaling scoring her 30th goal of the year.
It's impressive, and you look at that attack, and it almost appeared as if not a single person took more than, maybe 2 or 3 steps at a time before releasing the lacrosse ball to get it upfield.
That's the main key in lacrosse, is to be able to make quick passes, get the ball rolling. I mean, obviously, you need to be able to move the ball, and especially in this weather, you want to be keeping your body moving because you want to stay warm as much as you can. That's definitely the way to do it.
Well, we've seen a couple of blowout contests over the last couple of weeks for this Cardinal team. You go back through the schedule, and there's one in particular that really stands out. That's a 24-0 win over Cornell College, and it really, that came after a Linfield win, 22-2. And then on April 13th against Elmhurst, 18-0. So this is a team that knows how to put up a lot of points on the scoreboard. They also know how to shut some of these teams out. So Dubuque is going to have its work cut out for them tonight as a whistle blows, and the Cardinals are going to have possession of this one just a second after that ball was put back in play.
Now we're singing the praises of the Cardinals, but again, they're coming off back-to-back losses, very uncharacteristic of this team. So only scoring 7 goals in each of those games. Don't expect that 7 goals only tonight.
And those 2 losses really hurting the Cardinals in their end-of-season chances. Augustana is one of the top teams in the nation, so that you don't want to say that loss was expected, but it's a little bit easier to handle considering the level of competition they were playing. And they were within 7-6 in that game. The tough one is the Illinois Wesleyan game because you figure in the middle of the pack in the CCIW, really in the middle towards the upper tier, it's Carthage, it's the Cardinals, and it's the Titans. And in that game, the Titans got the better of the Cardinals, and now NCC sits 4th in the conference, just barely in the contention for postseason play. So they're in a interesting situation. It is possible, though, for them to move up to the number 2 spot. They have to win out. Carthage has to lose one of their 2 games remaining, and Illinois Wesleyan also has to lose one of their 2 remaining games. But there is a way, as Gina Fisher goes to work from straight away. Fisher, the all-time leading scorer for the Cardinals. She has 51 this season. That's tops on the team, but Claire Norfleet closing in fast. She has 47. And there's a goal. Quick spinner. And that's right in front of the goal. It's trying to figure out who that is. I believe it appeared to be Maddie Moss on the goal. Her and Kara Stevens often blend together. And it is Moss with the goal, and it's 2-0, 2 minutes in.
Not a bad way to start your final home game of the season here at Benedetti Worley Stadium. Obviously, again, this team knows how to score and score quickly. And as you can see already, 2 minutes in, and we already got 2 goals.
One of the things they do really well, and it's something that, I don't pretend to be an expert in lacrosse, but you notice the amount of movement that they have out in front of the net. It's almost, and again, I've talked about this in prior broadcasts, talking to Jay Farrell, the men's coach, and Danielle Fiala, the women's coach. They liken this game to basketball in a lot of ways, especially with the systems they use running offense. And the way they cut to the net is a lot like what you see in basketball with cutters moving without the basketball. And the Cardinals use that to perfection a lot of times. As that's a turnover right in front of the net, the Cardinals pick up the ground ball, and here they come the other way. A lot of pressure right in the face as the Cardinals trying to get it up and out of their zone. A lofted pass downfield, still on the ground, and the Cardinals fighting for it. And that's Claire Norfleet out, and it looks like she might have it. And the Cardinals have a 3-on-3 if they keep their advantage. So watch the Cardinals right here. They'll clear out space, and somebody will cut back door. There it is right in there. Pass was a little too high, unfortunately. But just that little play design, and it opens up space, and it allows that shooter to get in front of the net. As the whistle blows, and the Cardinals will have a free ball about 10 yards away. Nikki Maris will have it just inside the 10-yard line, which, of course, Lacrosse doesn't necessarily go by, but
for our purposes, we'll use it.
It's very easy to see. Bounces one up, and it's just off to the left of the goalpost. Picked up by NCC out in front of the net. Pass too high, and Dubuque takes it away. The Spartans, high pass, and the Cardinals will race up to pluck it off the turf. Nice job by NCC. And it's Maris again, scooping up the ground ball, now lofting it ahead. And trying to get it is Kara Stevens, still fighting for it. The ball is just bouncing around. And Stevens takes it away, races in, and a whistle blows about 7 yards away from the net on the right side. Stevens is one of the faster players you'll see on a lacrosse field. A lot of times you don't think she has room to turn the corner, and then all of a sudden she's right in front of the goal. Doesn't have a tremendous amount of goals this season. As she misses just wide left here, the Cardinals will get possession again off the end line.
Well, remember, this women's lacrosse is a non-contact sport, so speed is definitely the key in this game. And if you can, make 1-2 moves, you pretty much have a clear path to the goal. And in that sort of situation, especially for NCC, you're going to pay you.
Well, we talked to Gina Fisher, and that's a lot. I mean, she didn't maybe say that exactly, but she talked about her strategy moving in towards the net. And she said, I make a quick move on the inside to make it at least appear like I'm about to take that inside track, and then I cut back outside, throw in a quick shoulder shake, and then put one up in the top shelf. And that's how she is scored 200-plus goals in a Cardinal uniform.
Remarkable.
25-25 to play first half. The Cardinals already lead 2-0 over the University of Dubuque. The Spartans coming in 1-3 in conference play. Good defense early on for University of Dubuque. You take away that first goal, which the Cardinals just blistered down the field and put one in the back of the twine. They've been doing a good job at shutting the Cardinal offense out of that crease area. More action out front, and Claire Norfleet double-teamed. Try to put one towards the net, and oh my. Goalie came out to play that one well out in front of the net. Bad decision by Kaylee Weir. And capitalizing was Cassie Whaling, who was all alone right in front of the goal.
If you're going to make a move like that, you got to make sure that you feel as confident as possible in going for that. And any sort of hesitation is going to end up in the back of your net.
Yeah. And a lot of times you see goalies come out, and like you say, you know, they linger too long, or they take a false step, and all of a sudden you are not just out of position, but you're unable to get back in good time. That was certainly the case right there. And Casey Whaling makes them pay for it. 24-51, 3-0 the score. Cardinals on top. Final home game of the season. As the lights are flipped on, they won't really take effect for another half an hour, 45 minutes or so. But with the overcast skies, they'll take effect pretty quickly. As Gina Fisher tries to find some room and can't do so. Now goes over the middle. Maddie Moss gets it knocked away. And the Spartans pick up the ground ball.
Spartans haven't been able to really set up any sort of attack, and we'll see what the Cardinals defense can do right here.
And they stop them almost immediately. And a whistle blown, and this is a foul in Dubuque. So the Cardinals will have it yet again. And like you said, they've had one real mediocre possession on the offensive end where they really didn't put a shot up. It was kind of flung towards the net. I think it was more of a pass than a shot. But it was quickly erased by the Cardinals, and that was it. That's been it so far. As Emily Zadney cuts in and now turns back out, popped straight up in the air. Hammered back down to the turf, and Zadney has it again. Maris back to Zadney. So for the seniors of this team, this is their final home game. At least they don't hope it is. There's the potential of hosting a conference game should things shake out the right way. But as of right now in the schedule, this is their final home game. So you expect those emotions to run a little bit higher for, Claire Norfleet, Bianca Perry, Rebecca James, Kaylee Robbins, and Gina Fisher. It's always tough knowing that you're playing in possibly the final game inside your home stadium as another whistle blows.
At the same time, it's got to be fun to know that, you've had a successful career in North Central. You've obviously put up enough goals to be rewarded for what you've done. And you've had success over the years. So, again, this is also a reward for senior night as much as it is knowing that this could possibly be your final home game.
Shot on goal, and Kara Stevens nets the fourth one of the game for the Cardinals. And we're just 7 minutes in. Check the stick, and it is good. And the Cardinals have claimed a 4-0 advantage. Talk about this group of seniors. In particular, Gina Fisher has all those records, and it's really impressive. Mm-hmm. But Claire Norfleet has played every game the Cardinals have played the last 4 years. And should she play the final game against Carthage, it'll be every game she has been at North Central she has played in, which is, I consider that just as, if not more impressive than a goal record.
Yeah.
To be that important for all 4 years.
Well, that just shows you've been able to stay healthy. Mm-hmm. You've been able to contribute. And, when those two things come into effect, you're going to get that playing time. And obviously she's done enough to be able to stay on the field for 4 years and help this team win.
she's been around so long. Her and Gina Fisher and the rest of the seniors have actually played with their head coach, Danielle Fiala. That was their freshman year.
Yeah, you got a chance to talk to the coach on the Cardinal Report a couple weeks ago.
It's really funny.
That was probably one of the highlights of the year so far, especially for me being on tech for that show, and that was quite a treat to talk to the ladies about that. I'm sure they enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, they talked about when Gina broke, because Danielle Fiala had the record right before the season started, and then against Southwestern University, Gina Fisher claimed that record away from Danielle Fiala, and they joked that. So they talked about it amongst themselves. They didn't really give their coach a lot of grief for it. Maybe not to her face necessarily. But all in good fun. As Fisher has it right here. Quiet tonight. She's been a little bit more passive and more aggressive, at least trying to get it to her teammates instead of shooting the ball. As her and Claire Norfleet play a little give and go away from the net. 22:30 to play, first half. Fisher makes a cut, loses it, now picks it back up. So controlled. I think that's probably the best way to call and describe Gina Fisher's game. Even when she gets it poked away, it almost seems like she has this ability to sense exactly where the ball is and where she has to be to get it. Cardinals get a free ball behind the net.
Cross-checking on Dubuque there.
Slapped away from behind, and Moss trying to fight to regain. Still loose up top, and a real battle for it. And the goalie, Weir, has it off the end line. And what's this going to be? It's going to be
I think we're getting a foul call on
I think we are.
Central.
And they're just going to keep play pause for a moment and allow Dubuque some space. Weir made that false move away from the net, and it cost them a goal. And there she came well out of the net to claim that ball. A little surprised by that move, but it doesn't come back to haunt them. But the Cardinals get it right back, and here they come on the offensive end. A cut towards the net by Claire Norfleet. She's right out in front, and no way of getting the ball to her. Weir has it. She's spinning her racket, her
The cross stick there, yeah.
a ton there.
Well, you want to make sure that you can control the ball in the pocket there. And the pockets for women's lacrosse sticks are much smaller than the men's. So they definitely need to keep spinning that cross stick as much as they can to control the ball.
She wasn't, but you kind of waddle it. You see, like right now, Claire Norfleet is bouncing it back and forth. She was flat out spinning it.
I think she just wanted to show off a little bit.
Right in front of the goal, and it's fifth of the game for the Cardinals. A nice tic-tac-toe play for the offense. And it's 5-0, 21:06 to play first half. In a sense, we kind of anticipated this. And that's Cassie Whaling again with the goal. I believe that's her third of the night already.
Now, this may be a little unfair to compare the two, but, I mean, you mentioned it, the basketball, comparison. You got a little bit of Golden State in them. The quick passing.
A lot of quick, yeah.
A lot of quick passing. Just get the shot up and see what happens. And, I mean, the shooting percentage right now has to be off the charts.
Well, the only difference right there is the Cardinals don't like to shoot long.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only way that reference doesn't pan out. But the way they move the ball and the way they move without it actually is very reminiscent. As Gina Fisher just torches in there and able to ring it inside the far post. How about 6-0 with 20:57 to play first half? Well, early on it was 2-0, and I thought, well, maybe it's not going to be a 24-0 game. Reconsidering right now.
Now, again, we haven't seen what Dubuque's offense can do. They need to get the ball and show us what they can do. But, I mean, North Central has definitely done what they need to do as far as controlling the tempo, controlling the offensive play. And, obviously, when you do that, you get 5 goals in less than 10 minutes.
Well, you and I talked about this before the game, looking at all the statistics. The Cardinals have made more goals than the opponents have even been able to take. The Cardinals have only saved 91 shots this season. That is, I mean, that is a ridiculous number. That is like 4 per game. Long off the back. Make that 6 per game. The math is a little,
I was just gonna let it slide.
little fuzzy.
You have a long day ahead of you.
20-30 to play first half. But I mean that's a crazy number.
I mean we've mentioned like I said, like you said, we were talking before the broadcast started. 106 goals in the second half alone. That, in comparison to their opponent scoring, 101 total.
Yeah.
So this North Central offense knows how to put up goals in bunches. I mean, it's really interesting to see how this offense comes together and in such a quick fashion.
The Cardinals have put up 476 shots this year. Their opponents, half of that, 242.
And we've already seen it here in the first 10 minutes of this game, how much zone time has Dubuque had. I mean, this is their best offensive set so far, and it's only been 20 seconds.
Yeah, I would say so. Ten shots so far for the Cardinals. 0 for the University of Dubuque right now. Longest amount of time that they have spent with the lacrosse ball on the Cardinals side of the field. Doesn't say a whole lot at this point. And a penalty called right out in front of the net. So here comes Kat Schultz's first real look of the game. Cardinals close fast, and Schultz, not even close. Plucked that from midair.
In hockey, the comparison in hockey, I guess, is you want to maybe get more shots on goal for your goalie to kind of get them in the rhythm of the game. And when Schultz is sitting back just kind of observing most of this game, you wonder how she was going to react to that first shot with no problem at all, I guess.
Now here comes maybe number 2. Fumbled around a couple of times, and nope. Cardinals have it popped away. And Dubuque has it off the end line, still loose on the ground. Very physical right now in the painted area behind the net. And Schultz will get it grounded her way, and she'll rifle it out in front. 18 minutes to play, first half of action. The Cardinals on top already, 6-0. And back on to the offensive attack. Claire Norfleet out front, and she lost it. It looked like she got a rib shot, and she will have a whistle called in her favor. Could she get goal number 48 of the season? Went for the assistant said, and Cassie Whaling couldn't find space to be on the receiving end of that one. And again, Weir, look how far she is away from the net, 15 yards. And she'll have the ball after being whacked a couple of times by the Cardinals.
Yeah, you want to be
out in front.
You want to be able to jumpstart the offense, and that's what a goalie does. And in lacrosse, be able to make that long pass, get out of the net a little bit there, and see if you can get a counter here for Dubuque.
17:05 to play. Almost intercepted. Still fighting for it. I believe that's Kara Stevens. Almost picked it away cleanly. Very cold night here at Benedetti Worley Stadium. The funny thing is, if this was middle July, as the Cardinals come away with it again, if we were in middle of July, this would actually probably be warm weather. We'd be saying, hey, it's beautiful outside. It's 40 degrees. But it's already gotten up to 85 degrees in Naperville, and now it's back down to 40.
I'll take that 85 back.
I'll take that as well. It's no fun when you have to go back down.
Well, that's what we get for living in the Chicagoland area, right?
Well, at least it stopped raining. You see
Yep.
some of the fans have trickled into the stadium that are standing on the concourse. I think a lot of the seats are soaking wet. Just
yes.
a few fans are sprinkled along. And Gina Fisher, speaking of sprinkling, she sprinkles in her second goal of the game. A goal here, a goal there.
Well, again, she was just able to knife her way through the defense, find a crease in the middle, and when you're top scorer in North Central history, you're not going to miss many of those.
Well, you look at Gina Fisher, and what she does really well is her vision is really impressive in the sense that she finds these little creases in the defense that a lot of people don't see, and I certainly don't see either. And
No.
all of a sudden, she's passed her defenders in towards the goal. 7-0, 16 minutes in. Cardinals again going to go to the face-off at midfield. Claire Norfleet pops it up, and it is loose on the turf. Picked up by Stevens. And Stevens, here she comes. Look at that speed. Tries to go for the goal and just misses and ends up winning possession for the Cardinals on the end line. So 12 shots for the Cardinals. There is one. There is one for Dubuque.
One there. Yep.
But that one wasn't particularly close. It was right at Schultz, and she made a pretty easy attempt and snag of it. Yeah, I think I underestimated. The lights are actually starting to take effect of the stadium pretty quickly.
Yeah, the overcast is starting to get a little bit darker out there. Not sure if that means more rain is on the way or not, but again, lights definitely going to help in this situation when it gets later in the game.
Look right now, right out in front of the net, not a single person is another penalty called. But the Cardinals clear out that space for 10 seconds at a time, and then all of a sudden they send just wave after wave of cutters.
It's a really interesting motion offense that they have. You don't see very much standing around by the Cardinals. Everyone's got a reason to be moving, and everyone's got a reason to be where they're at. And then you can see exactly why they're putting up as many goals as they are. I mean, again, 7 goals right now, but how many times have they really been pressured to make a bad decision?
Norfleet out in front. Fisher tries to turn the opposite way, and help defense came to the aid. As this one's out in front. Met still loose. And Stevens gets rejected right at the net. Nice job by Weir to step up and put her stick in there.
By far the best save of the game for either goalie. Obviously only one for Schultz, but again, Weir.
That's really not fair. It's really not fair when you get so many more chances.
Yeah, right. Well, she has 4 saves in the game already, so she's doing her part, I guess. It's just North Central's offense is a tough crew to handle.
I mean, it's relentless. And Weir being as aggressive as she has, you almost wonder if that's a requirement. She feels the need to act as almost another defender out there to try and close the Cardinals away from the crease area. Is Fisher. Oh, boy, she lost the ball on the way to the net, but she was wide open for a second. Back with it, lofted behind the net, Norfleet. Little stutter, and now she's free, out in front. Oh, there it is. How did that go in?
I'm pretty sure she just pushed
Did that get
that
kicked
in.
in?
That was something else.
One of the most interesting goals I've seen. All of a sudden that ball emerged from the pile and wound up in the back of the net. Are they going to give this to the Cardinals? I think they will. They will.
Number 3, Claire Norfleet.
And they'll give it to Norfleet. 48 on the season. And it is officially 8-0. 13:05 to play, first half. Cardinals are not taking it easy on the 10-5 Dubuque Spartans. You look at 10-5, you say, well, this should be a pretty good game, but the 1-3 in conference tells you something. The fact that the Cardinals, what they've done to their opponents, That's cruel and unusual punishment.
Well, 2 more points on the day so far for Norfleet. That puts her at 88 points. She's not leading the team in goals. That's, Gina Fisher, but she is leading the team in points. And again, that shows that she knows how to score and help the team score by getting the assists.
It's been a real catalyst in all the games that we've been able to broadcast on TV. Whether or not she's scoring goals, there was a game Gina Fisher scored, 6 or 7, which, she's going to get the headline. But in the end, it was Norfleet with 9 overall points. Yeah, that's, just as impressive. Out in front, a lot of contact being made near the net. And Dubuque, I believe, will claim this ball.
Now, I guess we've been singing the praises of North Central's offense. Their defense so far and the limited amount of chances that they've had has really stepped up and really made Dubuque have to work to try and even get close enough to the net to get a shot off.
Yeah, they haven't really gotten close. They've had to take a couple long-range attempts, and they haven't been tremendously close to the pipes. Robin Whitkopf right now with it. She tries to find some space, and she cannot do so. Brianne Tajarda will try and give it a go. And as you mentioned before the game, Tajarda's a local product.
Yeah, she played for Wabanzi I guess she was at Wabanzi Valley with the Tribe, the Mattia Valley, Wabanzi Valley Girls Lacrosse Co-op team.
Went back and checked out the old high school show, and there she was, and that's how we got the pronunciation.
Yeah.
Tajarda. Cardinals take it away again.
Thank you, Alex Simons, for that.
Tajarda. 11:15 to go, first half. Stevens, little head duck, and now she's off to the races. Fisher has it out in front, 30 yards away. And she'll set up the offense. Very patient. And then all of a sudden, they go.
Yeah, it's weird. It's only been a couple minutes since they scored again. What's going on?
Slowed up a little bit. Fisher backs out. Norfleet. Pass was too far behind her. Fisher picks it up. Will go behind the net. Fisher looking for Norfleet, but she's swamped. We need to clear some space out. We're going to set up some picks. And it's Whaling on the near side. Whaling can't shake loose. Yeah, the official almost just got a lacrosse stick in the face.
They know their positioning. I think they can get out of the way quick enough.
Nice move to the inside, and that ball is shook loose. Maddie Moss picks it up. Norfleet cuts, nobody there. Moss dumps it off. I don't know if that was a pass or a deflection.
It looked like she was trying to find Fisher there, but just, again, passing a little bit off the mark there.
Mayer is fighting for space. Goes to the far side. It seems like the Cardinals keep getting farther and farther away from the net, and here comes an attack to it. There you go, Bianca Perry. Her first goal of the game. 9-0 NCC with just under 10 minutes to play in the first half.
She was able to make a move, get past the defender fairly easily. Obviously, like you said, backed out there. Give yourself space. Make sure that the Dubuque defender can't mark her as well as she wanted to. I think that was Itzel Rivera trying to defend her. And, again, when you create the space, make a move, as Fisher has told us, just one cut's all you need. And that ball's in the back of the net.
If you're doing more than that, then you're probably overthinking it, or you're just not going to score because you're not in the right position. But right there, you saw, as you mentioned, Perry just flew in, made a quick move, bounced it. Good as gold. Midfield, Norfleet knocks it over, and Perry picks it up. So far tonight, the seniors that have scored, Claire Norfleet, Bianca Perry, and Gina Fisher. Rebecca James is a defenseman, so we probably won't see her scoring a goal anytime soon. Maybe they'll bring her up just for kicks and giggles. And then Kaylee Robbins is also a midfielder / defender, so we'll see if she gets in the offensive act as well. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for joining us all season. This is actually, believe it or not, barring a conference game that the Cardinals would host, the final live broadcast of Cardinal Athletics this school year. Sad that it's coming to an end. We've seen a lot of fun stuff this year. From the football team, they didn't make the playoffs, but they played tremendously well in a lot of the games we had here at home. Basketball, both teams making pretty incredible runs.
Mm-hmm. It's been a fun year. I've been able to be a part of a few of these broadcasts, and I think you and I have tried to make it as enjoyable for the viewer as possible, whether or not the team was winning.
Or winning by a lot.
Or winning by a lot. And, yeah, it's been a fun season for North Central Athletics.
Well, what makes it so enjoyable, not just for you, but for us, is the fact that, these broadcasts, for a lot of reasons, is primarily for families and friends and maybe not necessarily fans of North Central, but, the families of players that are on the field that you're seeing right now that are maybe out in California or Iowa. That's always fun because, you're bringing them, they're kids on the TV. It's pretty cool. As Gina Fisher cuts to the net, a little collision there. Oh, my. Fisher was the only one that was okay after that collision. Everybody else was trying to check
She's a Lex
inventory.
girl. She knows how to take some contact and make a play.
She'll have some space. .7:58 to play. Tries to set up something else. A lot of congestion right in front of the net. Maris out in front. And almost thrown away. I think the Cardinals will end up with this one. They will. Ooh. Cross stick to the chamber.
Yeah, she's checking to see if she's okay, and I think she'll be okay, Kara Stevens.
Kara Stevens, I think she took one the last time we broadcasted a game. Required a quick medical attention, came off the field, and then later returned. She's one of those players, and you mentioned speed, and sometimes the only thing you have as a defender to stop that speed is a stick. You fling it out there, and you hope to make contact, and unfortunately sometimes it sneaks up on you, and it gets you.
Again, I mean, it is a non-contact sport, and you want to make sure that you're in control of your cross stick as much as you can. And sometimes accidents like that happen, and you just hope for the best, and no one's injured too badly.
As we approach 7 minutes in the first half. Cardinals lead 9-0. Kat Schultz with it. Ooh, almost picked away. Fisher races up the sideline. Well, from inside the press box, it looks like a beautiful night now. We have our cameraman, Chris Picciolo, just outside the windows. You see him concentrating so hard right now. He can hear us. Yeah, can only imagine how cold he might be right now. The wind is pushing that cold air inside the press box, but I can't imagine what it is outside.
Yeah, we have a window or two open here.
It's brisk.
It's brisk. Chris, how you doing out there? Yeah, he gives us a head nod. It's cold, as his breath shows.
Fisher, just high, just above the crossbar. 6:30 to play. as we kind of look back and reflect over the full year, soccer was also live on NCTV. Volleyball was a big part of our live scheduling. The first year of men's volleyball, had the pleasure of broadcasting that. That first game that we had where they won, that was huge. That was a lot of fun.
That place seemed to be rocking. Murray Fieldhouse.
It really did.
Really loud, it sounded like. So, I mean, you can only expect for men's volleyball to really grow at North Central, especially with the athletes that we have just in the high school area here. Getting a chance to possibly come to North Central and play men's volleyball is really going to help the program grow.
And you look, and they may not be here tonight, but the men's volleyball, it seemed like every time we were at a sporting event, they were at the sporting event as a team, cheering on their fellow Cardinals. And that it's that culture that's fun to observe and to be a part of. And that they don't just come to support, they watch and they support each other from a distance as well. As Norfleet behind the net, that's Emily Zadney, or rather Cassie Whaling. .5:20 to play.
Well, you were mentioning the culture, I guess, of North Central athletics, and the men's volleyball team showing up to other events and other sporting events, I guess, going on. I mean, just over 3,000 students at North Central College. I mean, this is a tight knit family.
Really is.
I mean, I know that every time we talk to any of the coaches for any of the sports, that's all they're talking about is family, and you could definitely see it on the field of play for any sport.
It's interesting because the football creed is well documented: faith, football, and family.
Right.
But Lydia Pond, who's the head coach of the women's tennis team, came in, and it was off script. It wasn't like it was rehearsed or anything. As the Cardinals and Gina Fisher just pick it up and whip it in,
losing her stick in the process, and no problem there.
Yard sale. 10-0 though. 5 minutes left. But, Coach Pond comes in, and she says, the way I see it is it goes family, academics, this team. And it's that mentality that I think North Central has an edge over a lot of Division III schools because they have their priorities. Yeah, the athletics are important, but especially at a D3 school, you are a student athlete.
Right.
The student, you're not an athlete student. You're a student athlete. The student comes first.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's academic scholarships, but there's no athletic scholarships in D3. So, I mean, you have to be able to put up the grades in a D3 school to be able to play, because otherwise, that's what the coaches want to see, is you be able to put up that 3.0, put up that 3.5 GPA, and still excel on the field.
And because you also look at Division III and how many athletes are going to go pro. Recently the NFL just did a story on 3 people who came from Division II or III. Out of the however many players that play in the NFL, it's such a small pool of Division III players. So these guys that are on the field, they love football, but their life after college isn't going to be football.
Right.
It's going to be, whatever they studied. That's why it's so important. That's why the Jeff Thorns and the Lydia Ponds are so important here to North Central. Their priorities are right in line with where they should be. Claire Norfleet breaks towards the net and now has a U-turn back out.
And I think even any time you've talked to any of these seniors for any of these sports on the Cardinal Report, they'll tell you the same thing. It's about family. It's about, making sure you're ready to go for the real world once, college ends. I mean, especially, again, for the seniors, you're coming down to the final month of school, Your sport is going to be only so much longer, but, if you have the education, it's going to take you a long way. Obviously we've been fortunate enough to, graduate from college.
What?
Maybe. And it's going to help you in your life, especially outside of the sport that you love. You need to be able to find a career that you love as well.
And North Central is a school. You talk about success out of school. You think of this place as it's a foul out in front of the net. The Cardinals will have possession. You think of this place as this little tiny school in Naperville that, maybe other people haven't heard of. But Very few people that have asked me where I went to college. I'll say North Central, and I go, it's just a little school in Naples. They go, oh, no, I know.
Yeah.
Because the network is so huge, because people that come out of the school are tremendously successful. Just being a citizen.
Right.
Cardinals go back to work with 2:36 to play. Norfleet out in front. Oh, Weir saves it right into the stick of Norfleet, and Norfleet sends it home. That was an interesting sequence. I wish we could play that back. That was
fun.
That was really an interesting sequence right out in front of the net. It was Weir basically taking it right out of the net of the Cardinal attacker, and then she tried to get rid of it, and Norfleet just went, oh, yeah, I'll take that. And then you can take that.
Well, again, we mentioned we're having to play basically defense as well as goalie, and again, she comes out of her net to make a play. She gets the initial play, but then again, as the rebound, out of the air, I guess, Norfleet comes up with the goal. Running clock now.
Yeah.
For the last minute and a half of this first half. Cardinals up 11-0.
Right on pace for that 24-0 shellacking they put on Cornell College. The Cardinals go back to work. Oh! Yeah, all right. Kara Stevens taking more contact away from the net. Kara Stevens, of course, I mentioned this a couple times, a product of Glenbrook South, and that's actually where I went to high school. And I don't know if I told you this, but I actually played baseball with her older brother, Cody.
Oh, okay.
And actually called Cody and his older brother, Trevor. They both played in the Frontier League, and I was a Frontier League broadcaster.
Right.
And his past summer, they both came through Schaumburg, and there they were.
So you have a rapport with the family, I guess.
A little bit. Spent some time up at their lake house back in high school.
Nice.
It's a great family, great baseball family. Their father was a longtime coach at Northwestern University as the head baseball coach, and a lot of success there. Just recently stepped down. That's an athletic. It is a truly athletic family. It's impressive. It is impressive. And Kara has carried it on here at North Central as a lacrosse player.
Obviously, exactly. The genes are doing her well at North Central.
Out in front, and is that the first goal of the game? No. Oh, no. Schultz takes. I thought I saw a ripple on the far side of the net, but Schultz was the one who was able to collect it. And with that, the first half expires. So Dubuque challenges the Cardinals as time winded down towards the half, but come away empty. It's an 11-0 game as we head to the intermission. 10 minutes on the clock. We'll take a break for halftime. We'll be back on NCTV 17.
Cardinals lead the game at the half, 11-0.
Welcome back to Benedetti Worley Stadium on the campus of North Central College. Kevin Jackman and Joe Olmo here this evening with you. It's an 11-0 lead for the Cardinals. It's going to be a running clock from here on out, and it was a tremendous first half for NCC. Some of the seniors getting in on the act were Bianca Perry, Claire Norfleet, and Gina Fisher, and nobody more impressive, at least early on. Cassie Whaling, 3 goals, and spreading the wealth. Claire Norfleet, 2, Gina Fisher with 3. So the attack was healthy and strong, and it is continuing here into the second half as that particular shot is blocked backwards. But Cardinals, again, furiously attacking the net. It is really impressive.
Yeah, and it looks like the rain has come back in a little bit more of a fashion. Excuse me.
Misty fashion.
Misty fashion for not being able to talk there.
Sounds like a fake fashion correspondent.
I was thinking more like a bad rock band. But we'll go with that as well.
Welcome back to NCTV 17 on that note. Joe Olmo with me tonight. I'm Kevin Jackman. This one is just wide of the goal. Nikki Maris let it fly, and it just goes off the back end line. As we hit 8 o'clock in the Central Time Zone, it's 28:40 to play on the clock, and the Cardinals closing in on another win, and they close in on another goal. It's now 12-0 NCC. Didn't see who scored that last one. Claire Norfleet. She gets her net checked.
Goal for the Cardinals, number 3.
So keeping right up with how that first half went, the Cardinals have come out here in the second on fire.
Yeah, I gave her 3 goals for Norfleet, but also the assist. So 4 points already for Norfleet on the night. Again, we mentioned she is the leading point getter on this Cardinals squad. So not out of the ordinary for her on any given night.
So we talked about this at the top of the broadcast. Probably the biggest theme, the biggest storyline that we could talk about is the conference standings right now, because the Cardinals lost that game against Augustana, a really good game. They drew within 7-6, and then Augustana flipped a switch and went on a run.
Yep.
But they then dropped a game 10-7 to Illinois Wesleyan, a team that you really would have hoped the Cardinals would have been able to beat. So here they stand 2-2. Illinois Wesleyan also 2-2, but obviously the Titans with the tiebreaker. The 2 teams in front of them, Carthage and Augustana. We're not playing Augustana again. The Cardinals will play Carthage in the final game of the season up in Kenosha. And that is going to be a huge contest. They'll need some things to shake out right, but the potential of hosting a conference game is real. But they need to win their final 2 games, as we're going to have a medical check on the field. So we will step aside here at NCTV 17. We'll be back after the break with some information as the Cardinals lead 12-0 with 27:14 to play here at Benedetti Worley Stadium. Welcome back. Able to walk off under her own power, Emily Zadney on the trainer's table right now. It looks like everything's okay for now. Cardinals will play on. 12-0 the score. 27 minutes remain in the second half. On the final home game of the season, it's Rebecca James in the backfield. Nice move. Past midfield. Out in front, Gina Fisher. Loose, and the pass is just a bit too far out in front of Nikki Maris. And here comes Dubuque. Scoreless tonight. They have not had a whole lot of action on the Cardinals side of the field. 4 saves made by Kat Schultz tonight. That is all that has been required of the Cardinal goalkeeper. And some of those have been fairly easy long-range shots that she has simply been able to net. 26-11, Cardinals have it behind the net. And stoppage and play. I'm not sure exactly what's happening right now. And I think we're finally ready. Cardinals have it on the right side. And here they come. That's Bianca Perry behind the net, now twisting out in front. Claire Norfleet deflects it in. I don't think she even got it in the netting. I think she literally just smacked it in.
That was a nice passing play. I mean, you come from behind the net with speed, get the edge, nice little pass over the top of the defense, and you got yourself another goal.
Goal for the Cardinals, number 3, Claire Norfleet, assisted by number 4, Bianca Perry.
A little senior connection there.
It's the best kind on the final home game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice to see.
I mean, they've done it so many times, I can only imagine.
A little mind reading, knowing where you're going to be coming from on all parts of the field.
So we've talked about those Augustana and Illinois Wesleyan games as the lights really take effect as we sit just outside of downtown Naperville. Talk about those 2 games, 2 losses, and obviously that puts you in a tough spot in the conference, but it also halted that momentum the Cardinals had in winning 9 games in a row.
Yeah, 2 losses, one being to Augustana, like we mentioned. It kind of, you take that loss in stride and say, okay, let's rebound from that. But the Illinois Wesleyan loss kind of hurts a little bit more, and obviously it stings in the standings as well.
You almost wonder if the last 20 minutes of that Augustana game almost gave them a hangover effect in that Illinois Wesleyan game because, again, that's a team that you would have expected NCC to beat.
Especially only 3 days apart between
Yeah.
the 2 games. You know, you probably don't get much practice in, maybe a day of practice. So you come out and you got to work again. And, again, like you said, that little bit of a hangover maybe, only scoring 7 goals in each game. Not going to cut it when you're trying to position yourself in conference.
Well, with their next goal, the Cardinals could match what they've scored in the last 2 games combined. Just wide of the net, and Kat Schultz watches one whiz by her. You look at the standings, and one of the categories is goals for, and this is a little bit surprising. University of Dubuque is actually 4th in the conference in scoring, and just behind Carthage, as Kat Schultz makes a save, 189 goals this season for Dubuque, and yet here tonight, they haven't had anything, and here comes, oh my, look at this. Racing up the field, and a whistle. I believe that was Kara Stevens. I mean, looked like Kara Stevens. Yes, it is. That is Kara Stevens. Beep beep.
You said she's a road runner out there on the field.
Shot on goal. Ooh, I think that got a piece of Weir.
Might have caught her in the.
She went down. The ball ricocheted
collarbone there or something.
And the ball ricocheted off to the left. That's not fun.
No.
I talked when Jay Farrell was on the set. He mentioned that early on in his lacrosse playing days, he was a goalie, and then his speed and his stature allowed him to move out to midfield. But my next question to him was, it can't be fun to be the goalie because in hockey, for instance, the goalie has all those pads. You know, soccer, the ball is big enough that you can deflect it away from your body. But in lacrosse, that ball not only is small, but it is really heavy.
Yeah.
And you have virtually no padding on as a goalie.
Yeah, they. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what kind of material the ball is made of.
It's hard rubber.
It's a hard rubber. It's it's kind of like a hockey puck with that vulcanized rubber, as they like to always mention, because it's just a cool word, vulcanized. But you do have a little bit of padding in men's lacrosse as far as being a goalie, just because the ball is coming out of that cross stick 90 miles an hour possibly.
Yeah.
So I mean, you do have a little bit of padding on like the women's. I mean, the women's lacrosse. Schultz, I don't think she has any padding on except for her helmet. I mean,
She might have something on underneath the jersey. I can't tell.
mhm.
But right there, nice save by Schultz. And, oh, there it is. First goal of the game for Dubuque. Schultz is not happy with herself. I believe that was Alora Esperanza. I'll wait for... Yeah, that is Alora Esperanza, a midfielder, a junior from Silvis, Illinois. Hey, you're on the board. 13-1, 20-51 to play here in the... There it is. Let there be light. And video. And lacrosse.
Carl Schultz, if you're watching, I did not touch anything.
Timeout taken. We'll take one, too, to sort things out. We'll be right back here on NCTV 17.
Timeout Dubuque.
Just under 21 to play here at North Central College. 13-1 North Central up in this match as we get started again.
And you think you're not a play-by-play guy.
I do not do play-by-play, and there's a reason why. Ooh.
Off the crossbar. That ball clanked, and you could hear from here.
And not just because we have the mics down on the field.
No, I think that was outside my headset. As here comes the Cardinals. That is Bianca Perry cutting towards the middle of the field. Pass off. Now out in front of the net, Gina Fisher stops and has to back it out. Looked like somebody lost their stick, and now Maddie Moss back of the twine. Make it 14-1.
That's a nice little quick response by the Cardinals offense.
Nice job by Maddie Moss, and she's been a really consistent contributor for this team. You know, she ranks right now behind Gina Fisher and Claire Norfleet in goals and assists, but she's that third option, and you really need somebody aside from your big guns to score goals, and that's what Maddie Moss has been this year. Very consistent, now up to 44 goals on the season.
I mean, you look at this Cardinals offense, you have 5 goal scorers, more than 20 goals each. on this offensive attack. And like you said, spreading the wealth out a little bit is going to be your best option. I know that I cover a lot more of the high school sports, and talking to coaches, the girls lacrosse teams, they like to see a balanced attack. If, talking to Naperville North's girls lacrosse coach, she said she'd rather have 6 goal scorers each scoring than 1 or 2, because then the defense can't key on one individual. And that's just, I guess, the best way to describe it is that if everyone's contributing, there's no one that you can really stop.
Yeah.
So
you can't focus
Right.
on one particular player, because if you do, well, you got 2 more that can beat you. Here comes Dubuque the other way. They've had a couple of good opportunities here in the half, and they've actually scored once. The other one buzzed the crossbar.
I wonder how much the rain is coming into effect, I guess, for the Cardinals' defense. It's starting to actually come down a little bit more.
It looks like a bit of just a sprinkle. Like you mentioned, a misty haze has kind of fallen over the field right now.
Mm-hmm.
Out in front and not able to collect. I believe that was Jaden Franklin out in front of the net. So the Cardinals turning defense into offense, and then, well, no.
Defense again.
Defense again, yeah. Couldn't put it better myself. 17-14 to play, second half. Again, running clock, so even on plays that should stop time, it's going to keep running. Time just keeps on ticking. Ticking, ticking into the future. Under 17.
Oh, man.
Dubuque has it, and it's Elise Thode. And a shot bounced in, one hopper. And would you look at this, Dubuque has remained even with NCC here in the second half. The second half score is 2-2.
And guess who that was on the goal?
That was Brian Tajarda.
The Wabansie Valley native. Our product, I guess.
Well, I mean, I guess native is all right. Aurora native, Wabansie
native.
Valley product.
Yep. There you go. I'm sure she's happy to come home, I guess, in a sense. North Central. It's close enough to home.
Cardinals aren't too happy to see her come home. They now lead, just 14-2. We'll step aside. One of the teams is taking time out. I believe it's NCC. We'll take a timeout with them. We'll be back on NCTV 17. Dubuque with 2 goals on the night. The Cardinals lead by 12 with 16:26 to play, as the lights have taken full effect of the stadium here at 8:20 in the evening on the campus of North Central College. Both teams now with 2 timeouts as the opening faceoff goes flying towards the Dubuque end. And it's picked up by the Spartans. Couple of goals in the half, and as I mentioned right before the timeout, Spartans and Cardinals now even at 2. Unfortunately for the University of Dubuque, that margin was 12-0 in the first half. So it's still 14-2.
The rain is visibly showing here on your screen, and it is definitely coming down. Our cameraman, Chris, having to battle the elements himself, and we thank him for that.
Yeah, the athletes aren't the only ones. Coaches, trainers. There are a lot of people who don't get to run around either.
No.
Standing in place, cold. Cardinals take it away. Kat Schultz, another save. I am sure that she is not tremendously happy that 2 goals have crossed her pipes tonight. Can't shut them out all the time. They've done so twice this season. I believe those are the first 2 shutouts in the program's history. That is a rare feat. I mean, lacrosse is a very high-scoring sport, especially women's lacrosse, in which there's not a lot of contact. And typically speaking, there's quite a bit of space out in front of the net where teams, even the not very good ones, can at least nab a goal.
I mean, you mentioned the 2 shutouts, but they've also only given up 2 goals twice this year. Once to Linfield and the other to Carroll. So she's done her fair share of making saves in the season.
Norfleet wanted it out in front of the net, but there was no way of getting it to her. Now the Cardinals will benefit from a whistle. And another whistle, as Gina Fisher was trying to snake her way to the net. She'll take her place. The officials will ask the Spartans to kindly get out of her way. And she will kindly put one in the back of their net. 15-2. Gina Fisher does it again. That is goal number 4 for her tonight. And it is now 55 on the season.
Goal for the Cardinals, number 23, Gina Fisher.
An incredibly impressive number.
Don't forget about those 3 assists. So a 7-point night for Gina Fisher. She doing it both scoring and helping out. And giving, Claire Norfleet a run for her money on the point scoring there. 7-5 so far between the 2 of them.
Breaking it down by season. Last year, I believe Fisher had, let's see. Well, they don't list her goals on her official page. Oh, there it is, 59. Last year it was 59. The year before, 61. And as a freshman, 37. As a freshman, that is an impressive number.
Yeah, but she's right on target for, another 55 goal type of season.
Yeah.
One more game to go. You figure that she's going to
At least 3 or 4.
go for that. At least try and get 60 here on the season.
Maybe she'll break her own record of 61, which is a program best in a season. And again, she did that as a sophomore. And she probably would have scored more goals her freshman year if her darn coach wasn't still a player, Danielle Fiala. Turning the corner, on net, Maddie Moss. Another one for number 19. And it's number 16 for the Cardinals. Moss with her 3rd on the night. She is 3 for 3 on shots on goal.
Now, I know that this is a typical game, I guess, for North Central Women's Lacrosse when they're not playing Augustana.
Yes.
But I think that timeout really refocused them coming into the second half here. You said it was tied 2-2 in the second half goal scoring, for quite some time. And right off the bat, just in the last 3 minutes or so, they put up 2 quick goals. So, the coaches obviously got in the players' ears to do something about that.
Refocus, re-energize,
Yep.
Make sure you're still playing the same way, even with the scoreboard reading, well, now 16-2. Hold on, a whistle. What is Dubuque was off and running. The officials, not so much. A yellow card. Who is that issued to?
Yellow card for the Cardinals, number 22.
That was on Emily Zadney. She was the one that had to come off the field earlier tonight, so it's at least good that she's back on, although I'm sure she's not happy about the yellow card. You're permitted 2 per half, I believe, just like in soccer. Schultz with a potential save opportunity. It dribbles off the left side of the net, and now you can see the rain start to come down a little bit harder. Those look like actual raindrops as opposed to that mist that was coming down. .35 to go until the Cardinals wrap up their home careers, at least the seniors. I'm sure right about now they're really missing that Georgetown, Texas trip that they took in the early part of the season.
Must have been real nice down there at that time of the year.
It was probably better weather there at that time, even back on March 12th, than it is right now as we approach
absolutely.
May.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Another foul on Dubuque, so the Cardinals will maintain possession of the lacrosse ball. It is so funny. You know, a lot of the water cooler talk revolves around, why are we in Chicago? Why do we subject ourselves to this? Why did our ancestors subject us to this?
It's Chicago. That's all you have to say.
You love it and you hate it.
I mean, you take the bad with the good. I mean, a lot of people you know do complain about the weather now, but come those 3 summer months, it is the best.
Yeah, but there's 12
city.
months in the year.
I'll sacrifice for 3 good months. My birthday's in the summer, so I'll take that when I can.
16-2, the Cardinals looking to add on some more. And right now it's Dubuque, I believe, that has possession of the lacrosse ball at about the 20-yard line.
Hey, just think about it this way. If you didn't grow up in this area, you wouldn't have gone to North Central.
This is true. This is very true.
All right, then.
Out in front, and Emily Zadney takes it away. Pokes it loose from behind and snags it off the turf, and now she races up the field, and the pass is a little too high for Gina Fisher. Sent backwards, and a dangerous pass almost over the head. Long, and that one will go over the head and should roll out of bounds, and the Cardinals will possess.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Uh-oh.
We have 8.5 minutes to go. You've been calling all but a few of the North Central Athletics games here on NCTV 17. What has been some of your favorite moments from this year?
Well, this year in particular, that's interesting. Honestly, I think one of my favorite moment is a goal for Nikki Maris, 17-2. I think probably my favorite game was the women basketball team taking down Illinois Wesleyan at home on senior night when the Titans were still leading the conference. And the Cardinals were at the time, I think, 5th or 6th and really battling to try and remain relevant in the conference picture.
Yeah.
And they, the Titans come in expecting a win, and here come the Cardinals, and they take that game.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the most special moments of the season. The other game that really sticks out to me is the football team taking on Wesley, because that game, that was one of the most dramatic late game sequences I think I have ever broadcasted. You go back and you look at that Mount Union game they played a couple of years back in the snow, and that game almost followed the same arc as far as scoring-wise and intensity-wise. That was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, they did not come out on the winning end in that game. Right. Joe Callahan, for the quarterback for the Wolverines, was just a tad better on that particular day, but what a game that was.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. Oh, there's so many moments. So many moments. But those are the two that stick out.
Yeah, there's. I mean, I was able to be a part of a few of those broadcasts and be on the field for some football games.
You would probably say that Ryan Cool dive and catch, wouldn't you?
That was cool.
I gave you credit on air.
Well, I was the one that captured that. I better get the credit for it. But yeah, like you said, there's been a few moments here at North Central this year, and we've been a part of pretty much all of them.
Weir snags that one. I think the thing that I find most fun is the fact that across the board, I shouldn't say most because I'm a little biased here, but
Sure.
a lot of schools, they might be good in a couple of sports.
Yep.
North Central is competitive across the board. Very rarely do you go out to cover a sport or a game, and actually at no point this year have I done this where I thought, oh man, this is going to be a tough one. I'm going to have to talk to some of the players after a loss.
Right, yeah.
I always went into a game or a match or a meet thinking we have a shot,
Yeah, absolutely.
which makes it a lot more fun to cover a sports team. Obviously, it shouldn't impact the job because you're objective, but it is always more fun talking to, well, happy people.
right, of course. I mean,
So,
I think it helps, you having affiliation to the school.
Oh, yeah.
Being a North Central grad, you want to see your teams succeed, and I think that just comes with being a fan of the program.
a lot of times I try and catch myself from saying we, us, let's.
Yeah, it happens from time to time.
I'm a Cardinal. I
Be proud.
can call the game that way. Under 5 minutes of playing this one, the Cardinals on top 17-2.
At least you're not Tom Brenneman.
Well, there's no Spartan fans to start cheering. Let's go Spartans here inside Benedetti Worley Stadium.
Enough already.
That is how not to broadcast 101. Cardinals with just a dominant effort tonight. This is, Dubuque is a good team. They came in 10-5. This is a solid team that has put up 190 goals this season.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals have held them to 2.
Well, they've kind of pretty much done that to everybody that they face, except for a few games where they've kind of stumbled. But this is, in a sense, an average game.
Yeah.
And nothing to take away from Dubuque and their effort, but you kind of expected that from North Central.
You absolutely did. And you look at those 4 losses. The first 2 were both 1-goal losses, one of which in overtime. So one sequence goes the other way,
Right.
and you're undefeated going into that Augustana game. That Augustana game, you closed to within 7-6, and maybe they ran out of gas. Maybe Augustana rested back on their laurels. You never know. But,
Right.
Maybe if the Cardinals tie that game up, maybe it's a different story. Shot on goal, and
Nice save.
nice save by Weir. And a whistle will stop play with 3:10. Clock will slow going, but the play will stop.
Yep.
But you look at that Augustana game, they maybe win that. And maybe if they're competitive in that final 15-minute stretch, because it was a little demoralizing watching that game slip away when it at one point was within their grasp. Right. Maybe they don't drop that game against Illinois Wesleyan. But the point is, the season comes down to those little moments in those games, and a few of them going the different way.
Yep.
And you're looking at a team that's maybe 15-0. Maybe.
And I think that's why coaches harp on the little things so much.
Oh, yeah.
And nice
save by
Weir.
Weir. Yeah.
Again, that's why the littlest of mistakes, the brain farts, I guess you can say, for lack of better words, defensively, offensively, do make the biggest of differences in a season, not just a game.
Yeah.
You said it. Just an overtime loss. Get to 7-6 against Augustana, and then all of a sudden 6 goals straight. And it's a different story. So I mean, I think that's why, especially in collegiate athletics, coaches are harping on making sure, not perfection-wise, but that at least you're making sure your responsibilities are being done.
And you remain focused on the task at hand
Right.
when you're on the field as Gina Fisher comes flying up it. There's 100 seconds left in this game. Cardinals will improve to 12-4, and an incredibly important game comes up. And, you look at the way this conference is going to shake out, and the Cardinals have at least a little bit of control. They should be in the conference tournament at this point. And should they beat Carthage, that'll improve their odds of maybe hosting a game. If not, they'll be number 2 or 3. And as long as you avoid Augustana in the first round, then you're in the conference championship. You hope you're in the conference championship. And from there, anything can happen, especially when you saw what happened in that first match between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
50 seconds left. Cardinals possess the lacrosse ball about 10 yards away. That's Claire Norfleet and a whistle called. There's been a lot of whistles on Dubuque. Cardinals very aggressive, very fast. Tough to limit them.
Right. I think it's just kind of the way that they play that makes you force them into a foul.
Weir scoops it away from the net. The net wanted it. So did Gina Fisher.
And Weir has come to play in this last few minutes, making some really big, really nice saves. But again, a little too late. But again, you can't take anything away from this North Central offense. It is relentless, as you have said many times.
Well, as time expires, 5 seconds on the clock. The Cardinals improved to 12-4 with a 17-2 victory over the University of Dubuque tonight. And as we've been talking about, it was a team effort. 4 players with 3 or more goals tonight. Claire Norfleet with 4, Cassie Whaling with 3, Maddie Moss with 3, and Gina Fisher with 4. Fisher with the team high in points with 7. And all around, a really good effort by NCC. And this should allow them to erase the memories of those 2 losses and go into that Carthage game up in Kenosha with a clean slate and going in with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, it was a nice little bounce back win, I guess, in a sense. 17 goals compared to the 14 and the 2 combined. So nice way to finish out the home portion of this season, and now you got to get yourself geared up for Carthage.
And they will do that. They have some time between this match and the Carthage match, 3 days to be precise. They will face them this Saturday up in Kenosha, a 1 o'clock start time. So pay attention to that. Make sure you check out NorthCentralAthletics.com, NorthCentralCardinals.com, the North Central Athletic homepage. And that'll do it for us. We appreciate you tuning in this season. This is the final broadcast of the year. Big thanks to our technician, Carl Schultz, our executive producer, Liz Spencer, my cameraman, Chris Picciolo, has been along all season long for just a tremendous job through basketball, volleyball, soccer, now lacrosse. Thank you, Chris. And Joe, thanks for coming along for some of these games. It's been a lot of fun.
It has been. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm Kevin Jackman saying so long. We'll see you next year on NCTV 17 Sports.
Sounds good. So we're good? All right. Have a good night. Thank you.